Hello friends and welcome back to another gardening video. Today's video is about the double petaled crepe jasmine and how you can easily propagate these beautiful flowers by stem cuttings easily. Crepe jasmine is commonly called as the pinwheel plant or the East India rosebay plant. So over here I have taken cuttings of the double petaled variety of this pinwheel plant and I am going to cut off the branches at an angle of about 45 degrees. So in this manner I am going to cut a few branches and then I'll be growing new plants using these branches itself. For the stem propagation, as you can see, I have not taken a very thick branch. These branches should be medium in thickness, or even the smaller branches can root out really quickly compared to really thick branches. And for the soil mix, I'm going to take some cocoa peat, sand and a little bit of compost, and I'm going to add this to the garden soil and prepare a pot full of soil, and then I'm just going to push in the crepe jasmine cuttings in like so. You can also rub the ends of the crepe jasmine stems on aloe vera gel and then you can plant them. That acts like a natural rooting hormone, and you have to remove off the lower leaves before planting these branches so that they don't rot off. And you can also remove off all the buds if you want, but I did leave a few buds in one stem cutting after putting them in the soil. All you need to do is water the plants. So I'm going to water it adequately for the first time, and then I'm going to keep it out in a semi-shaded area. Do not keep them under direct sunlight. And this is how the plant is looking. I had to shift it in another pot after a month as it was the winter season, and this was the pot where I had shifted it. This is my single petaled crepe jasmine plant, and this one is the scented variety. This one has perfume like the double petaled one. And there's another pinwheel plant which is this one, and this one does not have any perfume, but you can see the difference between both of them. The perfumed one has a little bit broader petals compared to the other one which is a little bit pointy. Now coming back to the stem cutting, after about a month, once it had rooted, I had shifted the plant to another pot with another pinwheel plant because I had needed that pot for other flowers. And over here it was growing nicely. I was giving it mustard cake liquid once in 15 to 20 days so that it would branch out more and give out leaves. And this is the condition during the growth phase. You can see that fresh branches are coming out and the plant is looking healthy. It had even started giving out tiny buds, and it was planted along with the single petaled pinwheel plant. So I had left it over there to grow, but I found that the plant was not getting adequate root space because the other plant was a little bit larger in size and it had captured a lot of the pot space. And since this plant had already started giving out buds, I decided it was time to shift it to another pot because the stem was also not getting thicker. Even though the branches were growing nicely and the buds were forming, in fact it had started flowering also in that pot, but I saw that the flowers formed were not big in size. And if you want this plant to give out big flowers and if you want this plant to grow really healthy, it should be grown individually in a pot, and you have to give it adequate sunlight and adequate fertilizer. You can even give it DAP fertilizer if you want the flowers to bloom really well, because if it is placed in the ground the flowers naturally grow bigger, but in pots to get bigger flowers you need to give it adequate fertilizer. So I decided to finally shift this plant even though it had started giving out buds and started flowering. Since the flowers were really small in size, I knew that the plant needed enough space. So finally I'm going to shift it to another pot. So this time I'm going to use a clay pot to shift this plant. This plant was in fact in this plastic pot for about a few more months after it had rooted, and the best pot for these plants is clay pot because clay is porous in nature and it is going to give out good ventilation to the roots also. So this was the clay pot that I chose, and I kept a few bricks or stones in the lower part, and I added a little bit of coconut husk in the lower part. Then you can add a little bit of garden waste whatever you have, like if there are any leaves or any flowers or even vegetable waste, you can add that to the lower part of the pot as I'm doing over here. And you can put this down and add soil on top, so by the time the plants grow the roots down, this is going to turn into compost. And this is garden soil in which sand has already been mixed, and I'm going to add some mustard cake pieces so that this will act like a slow release fertilizer. And I'm also going to add a handful of neem cake powder. This acts like a fungicide as well as a fertilizer, and this is a natural organic fertilizer, and it has good quantity of NPK, and it helps the plants give out new branches and give out nice green leaves. Once I mix everything properly in the soil, I'm going to add this mixture on top of the garden waste, and in this manner I'm going to fill up a little bit of the pot, and then I'm going to take out the sapling which is there, and gently I'll be taking it out from the pot. And over here you can see that the roots which are formed are nice and healthy, but the root was not getting adequate space in that pot, so it was best that I remove it and place it in another pot. So once the plant is taken out, I'll be placing the plant in the center of the new pot, and I'll be adding the remaining of the soil mix all around, and then I'm going to water the plant and leave the plant in a semi-shaded area. Then I'm going to put it out in a sunny spot so that the plant gets adequate sunlight and it can give out nice blooms. This plant really needs a good amount of sunlight, even though it can grow well enough in filtered sunlight. And since I have a covered apartment balcony, so the sunny spot means a few hours of sunlight only for this plant, so I'm going to place it in that kind of a sunny area of my balcony so that when it is blooming it will give out good flowers. And this is how the plant is looking after a few days. You can see that it already had buds and it had started flowering, so I let the flowers grow. Even though the flowers were a little bit smaller in size, these flowers can grow even larger in size if the plant is healthy or if the plant is planted on the soil in the ground. But even in pots you can grow bigger flowers by giving it adequate fertilizer and adequate sunlight. So this is all about the propagation and care of this Pinwheel Jasmine plant, also called as Crepe Jasmine or Chandani plant. It is really easy to grow and it gives out beautiful blooms throughout the summer season. It's a perennial plant and you can keep it for years. I hope you found this video useful and I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and thanks for watching.